Gali, mera gali, spera gali nichta. No matter where in this wild, wacky, and sometimes wonderful world you might be, thanks for making the Highbury Squad part of your day. Feels like a loss. At one point, it felt like I'll take a point. At what point? Anyway, let's just get stuck in, shall we? Squaddies, let's rock and roll.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Carumba. Let me just close my WhatsApp because all the groups are kicking off. Welcome back to Squad Central, Squaddies. Sunderland to the Arsenal Football Club 2. What a second half that was. Here to help me dissect and discuss, as always, my wingman for the post-game show this season, Mr. James Johnston. At ease, everyone. At ease, Squaddies. Wow, what a second half, what a match. Hope you're well, James. Everything good in your world first, in your universe? Everything okay? Other than, this result perhaps, but everything good? You've had a good week?
Yeah. I mean, I would say I can't whinge, but I can after that.
Yeah, there's always something to complain about.
Everything else is fine, but
Okay.
yeah, football.
Good.
Yeah, it was a kick, absolute kick in the you-know-whats.
It was. I am having a bad hair day. For those listening on audio and all other platforms other than Apple and Spotify, thanks so much for making us part of your day. I've got the old school 90s scrunchy, hair bunched up, and basically that game made me sweat, made me smile, made me angry. But in the end, I'm leaning towards being thankful that we ended up with a point. At Squaddies, let's say hello to our Chief Like Officer, Tammy Steels. Make sure you hit that like button, getting closer to that 20K mark. And I posted something yesterday on Apple and Spotify, a new series that I'm going to do for our audio listeners, and trying to encourage all of you to go over and subscribe to our Apple and Spotify accounts. 5 subjects, 5 minutes. Take a side. Let me know what you think. You can always circle back to the community page here on YouTube to let me hear what you think. And of course, my email is always open, thehighburysquad@gmail.com. I talked about the Manager of the Month award, a little bit about Ezra, which we'll get stuck into again today. Jesus Christ has risen, or is rising again, just in time for his birthday, and the international break, as well as a few other bits and bobs. All right, well, that's the housekeeping out of the way. James, the game was, of course, every single game this weekend, beginning with respect to our fallen soldiers. And I love this photo of Stuart McFarlane, the poppy on the away kit. Just wanted to say thank you to all those who have served. And I love this time of year. I do like the fact that actually the photo should be credited to Arsenal on screen here. I do enjoy seeing the respect that they pay, and well done to the Premier League, and well done to every single team and all the fans in the stands. Recognizing that team news came out, James, I don't think we can argue too much with this. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, that's pretty much the best of what we've got available. I mean, classic Arteta move in the press conference, saying an injured player is going to come back, and that injured player ends up being Kepa. Everyone's, oh, is it Madueke, or is it Martinelli, or is it? No, it's Kepa. So yeah, great 4D chess, as he likes to call it, from Mikel. Absolutely rattled the fan base before a ball's kicked, as he normally does. So yeah, well done on him. Well done there from him. But yeah, no, that was the best of what we were going to get today. So
can I just say, as I'm marking some of your comments to read some of them out loud here, they were very They're very interesting. Want to make sure that I get as many of your comments as well up. I just thought that Mikel Merino, after he looked super concussed to me, and you know, uh, I think anywhere else on the pitch, and I'm not here to complain about referees. I thought Sunderland did a really good job today. Anywhere else on the pitch, and I'm showing the image of the elbow to Merino in that first half, 6 or 7 minutes into the game, that's a foul. And I think it's actually a yellow card as well. And after that, he just didn't look right in the eyes. And I know that the choices would have been limited. You could have put maybe Trossard up front, put Eza on the left, and brought Waneri on. But yeah, he just didn't seem right to me today. And their physicality, I mean, Timber wearing the old Terry Butcher headband as well. They were a very physical team. And by the way, for those of you lauding on Xhaka, talk about ex-players showing respect to your side. He's a competitor, of course. I'm showing a picture of him leaning over Mikel Merino. And I don't know what choice language he's using, but I'm assuming he's not saying, hello, mate, welcome to the Arsenal Football Club. Just don't forget this. All the lauding of Xhaka all week, it's just been a little nauseating. Can we just stop? Let's not forget, okay? Never forget. He was superb in his last season. The redemption arc was wonderful. It was a great story. The respect that he and Mikel Arteta showed each other, wonderful. The comments that they made about each other, I learned from you, you learned from me. I loved every minute with him, blah, 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 blah. Mikel Merino didn't look right to me, James, after the elbow. What do you think?
Well, we had Don Goodman on commentary over here today, ex-Sunderland player, obviously. And he's another one, Soph, that you can add to the pile of people that are in the media that, my God, how are they in a job? And two, how are they being given a game of this sort of magnitude? Because he was absolutely dreadful. He's gone, oh, that's not deliberate and everything. For me, I'm like, Ballard knows exactly what he's doing there. He knows that he'll get away with it because they're not going to review that. For me, I'm not one that always will scream, "Oh, penalties and refs and everything."
Mm-hmm.
But I'm with you. If that's anywhere else, that's given as a free kick and a yellow card. So how come the same, application cannot be applied there in that moment? But I'm not going to needlessly, drag on the referee and everything else because we know this. We've been like this for a few seasons now, and teams target Arsenal because they know that if they get up you, if they get into you, then it's very, very hard for us to react. So, again, taking that aside, I think the first half, a lot of those players performed way under the expectation, way under the level that they should be performing at. They rallied in the second half. But yeah, just I think we tried to be very, very clever in that last 7 minutes, Sophie.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
And we've been done. But at the same point, I'm not going to be needlessly provocative just to fill up airtime. I know a lot of people here are going, oh, well, that, it's a draw in 11 matches. Let's, a bit of perspective.
Yeah. And I agree with Thibaut Pesque here. By the way, Sunderland, the most violent side we've faced since Newcastle away last year. Woody Wood saying that was an awful elbow, dirty.
But just on your,
it's a pen.
Just on what you said about Xhaka, again, respect is an advantage your opponent does not deserve. So, by all means before the game, yeah, by all means after it. But that 90 minutes plus or whatever on that pitch, you thought he was going to be, oh, no, this is my ex, I love Arsenal, they're my ex-team. We know what Xhaka's all about. We had him for 7 years. I was shocked. I thought he was quite tame. I was like, he's going to chop someone in this game today, just because that's what he does.
Yeah, true, very true. I take back what I said. But the lauding of him beforehand, it was a little bit much for me. For the same reason, Xhaka takes no prisoners on the pitch. I say, who cares when you're going into battle like this? And this is kind of such a pivotal season for us. There's no room for sentiment. Let me get to some of the comments before I think we totally skipped the first half because it was awful, right? And speaking of awful, and 235100 says Gabriel and Saliba were terrible today, just not in the game. And that's an Arsenal away performance of last season. Nothing on the bench to change the game. Dire from a position of strength. Cincinnati says all that effort to come back in the second half only to make the same mistakes. The Governor 100 back to default. Hope this doesn't become a trend. We've been so good. Our chief like officer moved the ball too slowly in the first half. Another comment here, drop 2 points on a weekend where Liverpool or City will drop points. Can't blame injuries. Arteta, awful performance from our strongest team today. And Anne goes on to say, Gabriel clueless on Sunderland's second equalizer. Let's get a few more comments up. First half, David Blassie says, first half was too passive. Mohammed said, was that a penalty? That was a penalty in the elbow. Arsenal manic. Excellent individual goal by Trossard. Defense wasn't good today. Keeper is erratic. Always jumping out. Eza once again terrible. Ambling about no impact. Drux says a shame for the drop points. Not the best performance. Hopefully tomorrow there's a draw between Man City and Liverpool, but I doubt it. Guna for life. I said it weeks ago that Sunderland was going to be a very tough test. Can't blame our performance on a corrupt referee today. Dominic Dickinson, Eza needs to just be better. I don't think he's adapting to our press. Doesn't work well in the 10 position. Marky Mark in the house. Tough physical battle, disappointing result, but this may prove to be a point gained at the end of the season rather than 2 points dropped. Just a couple more here. I agree. It was mainly Trossard and Saka. The rest weren't going good going forward. Defense shaky today. David Wright, an accident waiting to happen. He thinks he's better than he is. Let's get straight to the second half, James. Their goal was great. And, finally someone scores against us. Ballard, of course, typical, an ex-Arsenal player. Just the way football works. It was either going to be him or Granit Xhaka. I thought it was a brilliantly worked goal. Sunderland, pound for pound, the better team in the first half, did everything they needed to do, James. Second half, you could tell that Mikel Arteta ripped them a brand new a-hole at halftime. They come out, totally different team. We looked like we were the title challengers. Saka gets an excellent goal on his weaker right foot. The build-up, awesome. And Declan Rice makes up for the mistake on the first goal. Did you want to talk about the first goal real quick? I know I've jumped to the second half, but I know you may have a few choice words about our defending and the midfield in Sunderland's first goal. Did you want to say a couple things about that, James?
Yeah, it's just poor from Rice to be beaten twice by it. It's just, it's not good enough for a player of his level with his standards. It was really, really poor. And I know some have said that the person that heads it back towards Ballard, that should be looked at because that looks like he's a little bit offside and everything. But I'm like, no, you play to the whistle. Like, if it's not being given, what makes you think that's going to be looked at in Arsenal's favour? It's not happening. So, it's never a free kick from Zubamendi to begin with. But we do a lot of this where, it's all, well, this shouldn't have been like that. We're feeling sorry for us. It was like, well, no, get back, get organised, sort it out, and stop the danger. And it's just like, well, no, you're too busy feeling sorry for yourselves, and then you get further punished. Yeah. So it's it's the old copium, isn't it? That is the word that is used for it. But just like you said, a gut punch at the end of the first half, and then gut punch again at the second one.
Yeah, it was definitely a gut punch, but I thought that they were worthy of their goal. Let us know what you think in the live chat comments here. Sunderland 2, Arsenal 2. We'll get into our player of the match and a rating for the gaffer in just a little bit here. Lots to talk about in the second half. So we get the goal, and then, James, we boss the game. We are a relentless machine, and really should have gone 2-1 up with who was it who shot and hit the crossbar? I can't remember.
Zubamendi, who, by the way, completely different player that second half.
He
that first half, I was like, oh my goodness, you're getting bullied out here. You need to step up. But yeah, he was much more improved in that second. Yeah, unlucky as well.
And there was a follow-up shot as well to that, wasn't there? I mean, it felt like it was a 1-2 punch, and we weren't able to convert. And Sunderland looked like a shell of the team they were in the first half. I thought physically maybe they'd put a lot into the first 45 minutes. Feels like whatever Mikel Arteta did at halftime, kicking the guys up the butt. They came out and they were a force. I thought Trossard stepped up. I thought Saka stepped up. I thought Declan Rice stepped up. Zubimendi stepped up. One player I do want to talk about, and I mentioned this on the Five-a-Side audio show yesterday, and it's come home to roost again a little bit today. And I don't want to pick on players. We're just here to discuss, form and contribution. And I feel like Eza's had 2 good moments in an Arsenal shirt, and I said it yesterday. The Crystal Palace, Karate Kid Daniel LaRusso goal, and the pass to Martinelli from Manchester City. He's just not involved or dominating possession or games like he did at Crystal Palace. Of course, he's got to grow into the team, grow into his off-the-ball responsibilities. Am I being a bit harsh? I just feel like when you need that X factor, and it feels like right now we're super reliant on Saka and, the silent hero in Leandro Trossard, who just goes about his business continually for this team, getting big goals. James, do you not want to see more from Eza at this point?
I think every Arsenal fan does, so I really do. For me today, there were moments where he was our most forward player, a bit like what Odegaard does, and he was trying to lead a press, but there were times where we weren't pressing as a collective, and he was sort of looking around for help, because for him it was a bit like, okay, I'm leading this. If I win the ball back this high, what do I'm not really confident enough in my ability to then do that final action. So there's definitely a slight knock to confidence there with him. And there was there was one of the chances that he had as well, where he, I accused Saka of it against the Burnley game. He sort of had a bit of a pillow foot when it was just like, well, he could have absolutely wrapped that. I know there was one in the first half that he hit over, but that was on the snap. That was on the snap with his weaker foot. So I'm not going to blame him. But there was one in the second half where he just absolutely hit it so weakly. And it was just like, oh, you got time and you got space to do what you need to do there. But yeah, it was very, very difficult without Gyökeres when you're playing a 5 at the back team that you knew were going to bully you. And Moreno tried, but he's not Gyökeres. Gyökeres today, if he was there, would have made them think, well, 2 of us have got to go with him, because he relishes every week. Gyökeres gets out there and goes, you know what, I found who am I playing? Okay, I'll have a bit of a scrub with them today. We'll see if what goes on. And I know they're totally different players, and Moreno's this makeshift forward and what have you. And he tried his best today, but yeah, just a lot of it didn't click. I mean, Saka for me, again, Bukayo Saka's been getting away with this for the last couple of weeks, and it's what he does brilliantly. Saka can have an absolutely dreadful game, like again he had today, but he'll score or get an assist. He'll pad it through, because in the end he'll do something and he'll be clinical, and that's what he did today. I thought Saka was terrible today, other than his goal. I thought he was really poor.
There were some Arsenal fans calling for Saka to be substituted. I feel like there's a bit of a weak link, right? So you're only as good as the players around you, and I just think that there might be a bond off the pitch with Eza and Saka, and I just don't think they've created the bond off the pitch. I feel like there was a better bond between Madueke and Eza, but there just doesn't seem to be a bond right now and an understanding. And of course, that will grow in time. James, do you think that's fair or foul?
I think that's fair. Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's a lot of them that need to come back, and there's a lot of them that definitely will raise the level that they're at. But yeah, today there was a moment as well in the second half where Sunderland were too high up, and then obviously Rice hit it over, and Saka was running, and then he was trying to take them all on by himself. And if he just looked across, there was Calafiori and Trossard running in, and that's another thing I'll bring up as well today. The runs into the box that to try and cause chaos are being done by our left back. I mean, if you look at the goal from Trossard, that all comes from Calafiori being over there on that side and that Sunderland player going, watch him over there. And then that gave Trossard the chance to step in and smash the ball like he did. So I've seen a lot of people coming in for Calafiori today. But in terms of, I know he's a left back and you want to be praising him for what he does at the back. And I don't think he was really the worst of all our defenders today at all. But the only person creating a bit of chaos in their box, giving them something to worry about, was Calafiori.
I thought he was awful today. I think this was a game. Now, look, the truth is the players that were on the pitch came on and dug themselves out of a hole. You know, at halftime, people were asking me, what would you do? And in my mind, I was like, well, I actually prefer Eza on the left than as a 10. And throw Trossard up the middle and bring Waneri on as the 10, right? And maybe bring Miles Lewis-Skelly on for Calafiori. And we were so bad in the first half, I was actually thinking, take Marino off and bring, Miles Lewis-Skelly, bring Eza off, bring Miles Lewis-Skelly on in midfield. I was just like, the midfield was so bad. There was no redeeming feature for anybody in that first half. And I think you're being a little bit harsh on Saka because, most of the players had a bad game, but even though Saka and Trossard weren't great in the first half today, it was because of them we got back into the game. And Rice a little bit, but mostly all the other players were scrambling, were kind of, clutching at straws today and didn't kind of redeem themselves. Whereas I feel that Saka did redeem himself. And title number 14 says that Trossard strike should have been a game winner. Arteta should have made a couple more subs. Well, he did, and we'll get to that, and did that change things a little bit too much. CJ Dan, I've been saying this in all of my WhatsApp groups today. This is a reminder of what this team looks like without Gyökeres. Don't forget it. And for all those fans who poo-pooed him, like Amina here says, we missed Victor. The true technician says, you're not harsh, Sophie, but I think you're mistaken. That was Eza's game at Crystal Palace. I see him as a moments player, but now that Odegaard is out, he needs to become a dominating 10. I think that's fair. Terence says that Eza is a lot better than Odegaard, just needs to find his groove. I couldn't disagree with this more. How can you say that Eza is a better player than Odegaard? I just don't see it, James.
Yeah.
I think the longer a season goes, the more games Premier players miss, the more you miss them. Today was a game where, Zubi was better in the second half, but the way Odegaard I know some people don't like the way he holds onto the ball too much, slows things down. In a very physical game up north after a Champions League week, you need someone who's able to just calm things down, control the tempo of the match, and, unleash a play like Victor Gyökeres. I would even say today we missed the opportunity or the option to bring Martinelli on. I just don't think at this point in this Arsenal team that you can say Eza's a better player than Odegaard, James.
No, you're spot on, because the thing was that you knew exactly what they were trying to do, and they done it well. They got both their goals and they got a point from it. But the thing was that we were getting sucked in, because it was a bit of a raucous atmosphere like you get up there in the northeast. And like you said, when they're not coming to try and play a football game, they're trying to make it a nitty-gritty bitty game, because they know that Arsenal don't like nitty-bitty gritty games. And like we said, we got sucked in first half. But then when we were like, no, look, back to basics, like you said, Mikel probably gave them an absolute lashing. And it was like, back to basics and play football. Don't you start making these niggly fouls and letting them waste time and reset and everything else. Play your football. And when you're playing football, you need the actual footballers. And yeah, I'm sorry, Eze's a great player. Don't get me wrong, but he's not a better footballer in the pure aspect than Martin Odegaard is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
There's no way.
Yeah, and I agree with Demsek here. Sunderland give up the wide areas and pack the middle. That's tough. You need a passer of the ball, not a dribbler. And that is spot on. So then the absolute banger of a goal comes from Trossard to make it 2-1. You know, I don't have a pick of him. I'll put last week's pick because, you know, he's just a player that comes up with big goals in big moments. And that finish was a golazo. It was technically brilliant. He held onto the ball, made the space, took the shot. And I love Trossard. I think Trossard is a huge value to this team. You know, do I like that he starts a lot, but that we've got injuries? I think he's a super sub. I think right now he's stepping up when other players are not. And James, for me, I thought that in the second half, he really was the nucleus of what could be good, and that goal deserved to be a winner.
Yeah, he's been brilliant the last couple of weeks. He really has. Producing, you know, consecutive assists in the league and the Champions League, and then to get that goal today, really, really happy for him. He's had a rough ride. You know, I thought in the summer this was a guy that was gone. I'm happy to put my hands up and say I got that one wrong. Like, I get a lot of things wrong, but I'm not like these people that deny that they get things wrong. I hold my hand up and be accountable for the things that I say. This comment section holds me accountable for the things that I say.
Yeah, they're coming in thick and fast. Keep them coming.
Love it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, he was brilliant today. And yeah, he deserved to win the game. But, you know, the big man that used to be on here, Sophie, he says it's football. And that's all I can think today is, it's football. You know, it's bloody annoying, but that's football.
You know, it's true. And maybe today was the first time we really felt the current climate regarding injuries.
Oh, by the way, people saying this about maybe we'll sign Rafael Leao. If you don't like Eze at the moment, you're not going to like this guy. You are not going to like this guy. This guy makes Iron Robin look like he wasn't selfish. He is you want to talk about a player that plays for himself. Bloody hell, Rafael Leao. I wouldn't touch him with a barge pole, Sophie. He's the most underwhelming player that people talk about.
He's a really polarizing player. And
like that Vinicius at Real Madrid. My God, I watched him midweek. I thought, people, you think you're the best. You got upset you didn't win a Ballon d'Or. I'm like, you're nowhere near a Ballon d'Or, mate. You're dreadful.
I'm not going to say anything. I think he's a little bit overrated. There, I said it. Damn it. Here they come. There go the darts. Maybe he's the last season and the beginning of this season. He's just too moany for me as well. You know, he likes to dish it out, Vinny, but he doesn't like to take the banter, does he? And, you know, anyway, we're not going to talk about Real Madrid. Cornbread, you're making me hungry with your screen name. Trossard during the game after he scored asked by the way for an energy booster. If that doesn't tell you he was knackered, I don't know what does. I mean, we're running on empty today. As I said, it felt like it was the game where we started to miss the injured players. Let's get a couple of your comments in. Cincinnati says Eze would be on the bench without injuries. Probably true. Amina says we missed Victor. Absolutely 100% true. Let's see. Who else do we have here? Sunderland didn't deserve anything. Wrestling team allowed to bend the rules. Patrick, very bitter right there, I think. Last season, whenever Liverpool dropped points, we got that comment up. Demsek says when Odegaard is fit, Eze would be left on the bench. Rich says fair point about Eze. Eze doesn't have the guile of Odegaard, says Peter. Arsenal Manic says Saka has made him look bang average. I know Eze is much better than he's showing. He needs to show more confidence. You're blaming Saka on Eze's form. James kind of hinted towards that, I think. I do think Eze can evolve into what you're expecting, Sophie, but don't think we'll see it consistently this season. Rebecca Lowe told you guys he's going to dip in and out. He will be hot and cold. And, he'll go on a run of form and he'll be like, whoa, player of the season type performances, but then he'll kind of go off the boil a little. And someone talked about the badge maybe weighing too much. The big man you talked about there, James, talked about that a lot. But I agree with Miso here. This Sunderland team will give any team in their house this season. This Sunderland will give it to any team in their house this season. Sure of it, especially if the top 6 play in Europe before going there. All right, so we go 2-1 up. It's looking really good. James, what did you make of the substitutions? Talk to me about controlling the game, should have really got a third, and then we go into game management control defensively. What did you make of Mikel's final third, the final act?
Yeah. So obviously you're going to ask me to give him a score in a minute. So I feel like saying what I'm going to say now is probably going to indicate what my score is going to be. This season, obviously I've been on here most post games with you and with the squaddies and everything, and the audio listeners as well. And I've been very, very happy with the fact that he's used every single one of the subs that he had. He's used all 5, and he's used all kinds of different players for all kinds of different situations. And today, he got this massively, massively wrong. We were on the front foot. They looked panicked, and they were bringing on strikers. At that point, it was either a case of, if you're going to pack it and you're going to hold for that 2-1, then bring more than just Mosquera. Because there were players out there that were tired. So it was like, if you're going to pack it in, then fully, let's really pack it in and, S-house our way through it. Or you bring on somebody that's going to peng them back. Because when they were getting on the ball, all they wanted to do was, especially where we're dropping back, they just wanted to keep hoofing the crosses, trying to win the free kick, trying to win the throw-in. And that's eventually what they scored from. Like, don't get me wrong, the finish is superb, by the way. Gabriel trying to throw himself and saying, oh, he's kicked me in the head with a header. Mate, you're better. Again, when he was away at Newcastle with Voltemada, must be something with him in the northeast. He just, it's weak from him, and I love him. He's arguably been one of our best players this season. But there's 2 instances in 2 games there where it's just like, mate, now the rock at the back. You look. It was a very soft rock when you come up against these 2 teams. I thought it was awful from him. But yeah, if you're gonna do what we've done, you got to bring someone. You've either got to bring someone with legs, like you said, that we're going to dominate the ball and then run at them and hold it up in the corner or what have you. Or you've got to really, really pack, like just Mosquera on his own. And don't get me wrong, I like Mosquera. I think Mosquera's been a great player, but
no other subs.
It sent the wrong message, because it gave Sunderland belief like, well, they're going to sit back now, so we'll just chuck every single. Arsene Wenger used to do it. Arsene Wenger, either if he was winning, he'd chuck every single defender he had on. If he was losing, I'm going to chuck every forward I have on. And this Lebris or whatever that's at Sunderland, I know they said something about him being, I don't know if he's an ex-player of Wenger's back in the day or something. They said he's a disciple of Wenger's in some way. I don't know, probably way before my time. But he did exactly what Wenger used to do. And it was just like, just cause some chaos, boys. Just go up there, see what happens. And that's exactly what happened. But yeah, for me, he got the subs completely wrong today. And I'll tell you what as well, Hines on the bench, all these set piece situations near the end, he was right by Jova, screaming at him, going, sort this. Look at it. He was not happy with how we were setting things up. He was going ballistic. And yeah, again, people saying here it was safe tactics, cowardly. Yeah, we chucked 2 points away there with that sub and the lack of the others, because that people were knackered. Like Rice, bless him. I know he can go up and down and everything else like that, but yeah, he was toast near the end.
I wouldn't have minded Norgard coming on for Rice, a Premier League experienced player. I think he looked gassed as much as his engine, and we all rave about Declan Rice's engine. He looked, totally gassed. I would have bought Benjamin White on for Timber today. I don't think Timber had his best game. Again, he got the knock to the head. And just really, at some point, this defense that's been the great wall of Arsenal was going to crumble. And the cracks kind of, showed today. They've been absolutely brilliant. They've been impenetrable. And unfortunately, at some point, they're going to kind of face a team like Sunderland, who are exceptionally physical. I thought positionally today we were off balance and not supporting each other. I thought the gaps between the defense and the midfield were too great at point, even in the second half where our game had improved a little bit as well. Timber's positional play is usually flawless, but going forward today, I think he lacked that. And I think that's an energy thing. It's not a talent thing. Absolutely not. This team's been brilliant all season in, being just playing smart football, getting kind of professional results, even though we're not playing some champagne football that some fans may want, James. But when you have on the bench, you got Benjamin White, you had Nketiah, Norgard, Waneri, Miles Lewis-Skelly. I don't think it was a game for Dalman and Anus to come on. It was way too physical, and Mikel did well to protect them. But yeah, I think there was a time where we needed a little bit of freshness, and unfortunately, the Mosquera substitution, even though we needed subs, it felt like one that disrupted the flow.
Yeah. Again, like we said, for all of Eze's faults, he is someone that would have maybe, got on the ball or would have given you some pace. So you took him off to go, like we said, to try and pack it in. But if you're going to do that, then you've got to do it a bit, you've got to do it more. If you're going to go full on defensive, then, throw the cavalry on, because that's what Sunderland did. You knew it was going to be an aerial bombardment and some chaos. So if you're going to do that, like you said, get Norgard. Norgard's brilliant in the air. He might not be good at anything else, but he's got a bit of presence in the box, defensively and offensively. So
his distribution is good too. I mean,
I agree. Yeah.
I think Norgard's coming back from an injury as well. So again, we haven't seen the best of him. So let's talk about the equalizer, because I thought I had a shot of it, but I don't. So let's just put this picture up of double Golden Glove winner David Raya, who literally 2 minutes and 5 minutes prior to that was the superhero. Double save was unbelievable. Makes another save unbelievable. And then literally makes the mistake that the Slavia Prague goalkeeper did in midweek, coming out for a ball that I don't know if he was never going to get it. I don't know what Big Gabby was doing in that moment, but it was calamitous between the two of them. Do you blame Saliba as well positionally? Probably. At that point, I feel like someone said Mark said, we're going to look back on this and maybe a point earned versus a point lost. Right now, feels like it was a mistake that cost us the game. Some people saying, right, it was a mistake waiting to happen. We were literally 2 minutes away from having a debate about Trossard or Raya being the man of the match, James. And it all went horribly wrong. What did you see in that situation?
Just mistakes. And it, sadly, especially not this season, but Arsenal of old, it's that whole, where I always say it, if one F's up, you're thinking, someone will bail them out, wouldn't they? And no, it's just a domino. It just, I F up, you F up, this one F up, that one, and it just keeps going and going and going and going. And like I said in one of the group chats I was in, I was like, nah, look, fair play, what a finish! Like overhead acrobatic kick like that. It's a goal that if your team score it, you're going to be like, wow, okay, that's a bit special. But yeah, when you're on the end of it and you're 2 minutes away from thinking you've scored a welder, you've got out of jail, you've got out of a tough game. Yeah, it's lick your wounds today, Arsenal. lick your wounds.
Yeah, like Thunder here says, let's not overanalyze Sunderland. They were good today and would give any top 4 team a run for their money. Yeah, we're just not overanalyzing, we're just analyzing. And I think that it seems disappointing because the equalizer stemmed from a mistake. But yet the Sunderland deserved, I think, a point from this game. And, we're not going to, kill Mikel Arteta. Like James said, we've on the post-game shows have lauded him all season because his in-game management and his substitutions have been superb. It's just today, maybe, like Gareth here says, Miles Lewis-Skelly could have come on. Declan Rice could have been subbed. We're going into the international break. And I think every now and again, Mikel says they're going into the international break. I'm going to squeeze every ounce of juice I can from them before, they head off.
So sometimes like this, you need to be brought back. I know it's harsh, but sometimes you need to be brought back down to earth a bit.
Yeah.
I mean, if you looked at last season, Liverpool were absolutely flying. And then they lost that game against Forest in about the same sort of time. I think it was November-y time that they lost that game. And it was just like, oh, okay, maybe we're not as good as what we actually think we are. And that's, I don't blame these defenders for believing their own hype at all.
No.
We said it when we spoke midweek about the obsession with this the clean sheets record and I was just like, you know what? As much as I'd love it, fuck the record.
I don't give a shit.
Just do your job and win something. Win something. And again today, I hope they look at that and go, we thought we had this game won and we're that good that, we don't have to maybe fully switch on all for the whole game. But yeah, you do.
It was humbling.
A lot of them are going to go away on the break. Yeah. Yeah, a lot of them are going to go on the break now. But I hope when they come back, get them in the old analysis room and sit there and be like, you effed up there, boys. Don't do that again.
I would send them with some videos as they make their way to St. George's Park and and wherever in the world they're going to play their international football. Because I think the draw and the point away from home against a team that people are finding out who they really are. This Sunderland team has taken the Premier League by huge surprise. Nobody was expecting them to be in the position that they're in. They've been getting some incredible results. Credit to their manager. They're well organized. They're physical. They have a never give up attitude. They play some decent kind of football in between their stability as a defensive unit. Tough to break down. Their fans are insanely loud and they have a phenomenal atmosphere. This is a team that was dead and, kept getting relegated. The Sunderland story is a good story. They're riding on this high right now. And there's nothing more they wanted to do than to score against us. And then they built this belief that, hold on a second, I think they were thinking, let's just get a goal against them. Let's not lose this game. And then there was this belief that they felt like, well, maybe we can win this game against Arsenal. And then we did what we kind of have been doing. We showed our strength. We showed our mentality, our belief. We got a little bit shaky towards the end when we went 2-1 up. We were tired, I think, from the onslaught and the pressure that Sunderland were presenting in the match. And it got to us a little bit and we just switched off, which we haven't done for most of the season. And it cost us, James. And, I think as I'm talking through this and we go into the international break with a North London derby coming up, a game against Chelsea coming up, you got to be happy with the point. And maybe Mikel, I haven't seen any quotes yet. Sometimes Demsek puts them in for us before we duck out. That maybe he'll look back on this and say it was a great point earned. It felt like we earned the point in the end.
Yeah. I mean, again, the reflection's a great thing. I mean, for me, as soon as that whistle went, I felt like it was 2 points lost. But yeah, I get what people are saying, and like I said, lick your wounds going into the break. I'm not going to watch any of it. I hate the international break, so I enjoy World Cups and I enjoy Euros, but all these friendlies and all this, drop me out of it. I can't stand the stuff. But
I think this one's come at a good time for us, James.
Yes, yeah, but will be doing my incense and all my other lucky charms for my Arsenal players to come back, on top of all the other players that we have to come back. I hope all of them are refreshed and ready, because, like you said, we got a hell of a month coming up with more emotional games. You know, today was like I said, it got a very emotional, nitty-gritty game, and again, these London derbies that we have coming up, you can talk all about form. You can talk about how they look against this team today. Exactly, Soph. Exactly.
Yeah. So, Jeffrey thinks we're sugarcoating that we lost 2 points. I don't think so. I think we're disappointed.
I've literally just said on the final whistle, it felt like 2 points dropped. What are you talking about?
Because I said it's going to feel like a point earned.
But yeah,
because it's aimed at me, because I said that it feels like a point earned at this stage as I'm talking through, the match. And when we come back, we've got Tottenham at home. We've got Bayern Munich at home. That's on the 23rd we play Tottenham, and then on the 26th we play Bayern Munich, and then on the 30th we play Chelsea. And then there's Brentford and Aston Villa, hiccup teams. Yes, we've righted some wrongs against those types of sides, James, but that is a difficult schedule coming up. Here's the stats from today, by the way. 16 shots for us, 8 for them. They had 4 on target. We had 6. We had 67% possession. Do the math and work out what they had. We had 493 passes. They had 248. Our pass accuracy, 91% to their 86. 13 fouls each. 1 yellow card for us, 2 for them. 2 offsides for them, none for us. I find that a bit of a problem, actually, to have no offsides. We really missed. We had 2 corners. They had 2 corners. So, real quick, too, we really...
I said, no one running in the box other than Calafiori today, so really... There was no real box presence. After Moreno got his whack, he weren't really in and amongst it, was he? I mean, I know he laid the assist on for Saka,
he wasn't.
Which was brilliant, but he didn't want to go back up there again and have those sort of, jewels or whatever after he took his his wallop. So
yeah. I mean, he really took a hit to the head, and I wonder how he would have felt after that. The Premier League table currently, Arsenal sitting at the top on 26 points, Manchester City on 19, Sunderland on 19, Tottenham on 18, Chelsea on 18, Liverpool, Bournemouth, Manchester United, all also on 18 points. What do you think happens tomorrow, James? Manchester City versus Liverpool?
I'm praying for a draw. But yeah, I look at them and how they defend, and I look at Erling Haaland, and he can't be stopped, can he? He just can't. The man,
he's a beast.
The man is just yeah. I mean, I think they're the only team he still hasn't scored against, right? So they normally do lock him down, but I can see him banging. I can see him banging Liverpool tomorrow. Foden's just hit form right at the right time. I always say to people, you don't become a rubbish player overnight. I remember that season for Chelsea, Hazard was absolutely dreadful. And everyone was like, oh, that's him done. Season after, he won Player of the Year, didn't he? I'm like, you can't, these don't become bad players after. But yeah, I think City might win it, which is annoying. But I'm praying for a draw. I think City are going to do them.
I find it interesting, kind of like, got to get my nails done. I find it interesting, it's all the housework. It's all the housework. They've all the paint's come off. I just realised that.
Biting them in that last 7 minutes. That's what it was.
The overlord. I mean, there's some overlording starting on Manchester United that I don't like. I mean, Amorim winning Manager of the Month is a joke. Go listen to the audio on that. Phil Foden, everyone, just salivating over him again. I get it. I mean, I just there's part of me that wants City to lose badly and part of me that wants Liverpool to lose badly, but the best result for the Arsenal is a draw. and that is hopefully what will happen at the end of this match. So we shall see. James,
I'm hoping for the classic Sky, Sophie, where they hype the Super Sunday game and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna have the best game ever on this," and then they're always like 1-1, and they're boring. They're like absolute dullard of games. So yeah, I'm hoping that the old Sky Sports Super Sunday curse kicks in. But yeah, we'll wait and see what happens.
Who was your Arsenal man of the match today?
Oh, easily Trossard. Just on that second half alone, easily for me.
Yeah.
When you score a goal like that, it's very hard. I know a lot of the time people go, "Oh, what, you're just giving them the plaudits for the goals and everything." I'm like, yeah, when you score one like that, come on.
By the way, I thought Saka's right foot finish was brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean,
like
should the keeper do better there? Maybe.
For me, he bailed himself out with that goal because I said, I did, and it's been the case for the last. I think he's not been very good all season, but he's still picking up assists. He's still picking up goals that get it, that let him get off. And you can get away with that if you're contributing and winning points and affecting games. You're always going to get out of it. But yeah, today didn't happen. But
even his not best is someone's best. His average is someone's. Someone's best.
Yeah.
Marks for the gaffer.
I'm going to give him a 6. I think he got that at the end. He got that wrong. He got that wrong. I'll give him I'll give him the boost for clearly he had something set. If it wasn't him at half time, it might have been Hines because he was fuming, weren't he? But
I really like him.
I like him a lot as well.
I like the vibe. I like what I'm seeing. I like anyone to put Yova in his place. Always makes me smile a little bit. And yeah, I mean, I think for Mikel today, it's a 7 for me. Couldn't pick a better lineup.
We're on trend for the kids for 6, 7. There you go.
Couldn't pick a better lineup than he did, and just maybe should have made more subs at the end. Let us know what you think in the comments section. If you're listening on Apple and Spotify, make sure you have your voice heard in our football democracy too. It feels disappointing. I'm happy in the end. I've talked myself into being happy with a point. James says it feels like a loss. Let us know if you agree or disagree. And, now we're off for an international break. Let's pray that all of our players come back fit. Let's pray for the players who are coming back from injury. Just it's going to be amazing, James, if you come back from the international break, right? And you've got Gyökeres, Havertz, Odegaard, Martinelli, somewhere. And Jesus, I said on the show I did yesterday, I don't count him. He's not in my, would it be great if he came back and for the rest of the season played really well? I can't factor him in because of his injury history. So let's just hope that everyone comes back unscathed, because we have got a monumental schedule between now and the next international break as well. Anne says, great show after a thoroughly depressing result against the side we should have performed better against. Yeah, I think in the end, we've done well. We're still top of the league. Let's see what happens in this game tomorrow. Let's hope it's a draw. I'll be back live on Monday at 9:00 UK time, and I'll be joined by Adrian Clark. So we will have a epic football conversation with Adrian Clark on Monday. Make sure you tune in at 9:00 UK time. That's the rescheduled show from last Monday. And I'll keep you up to date on doing some bits and bobs during the international break for you. James Johnston, what have you got coming up?
Yeah, I'm going to have to review this game again. But yeah, no, we'll get it done. We always get it done. So yeah, no, thanks everybody. And yeah, just like I said earlier, if you want to watch the international break, I don't begrudge you. I've got no interest whatsoever. Obviously, Sophie, you put my handle up there. If you people want to tell me while those games are on that our players are fine and healthy, I'll appreciate any and all updates, because that's all I care about. I don't care about any of these games whatsoever.
Do you have a show coming up on the pod?
I will be, yeah. I don't know what day I'll pick, but it will probably be a day that ends in Y. How's that?
Yes, and Arsenal Manic says it well, as does our chief like officer. Like and sub, please. Please make sure that you support the show. We really appreciate each and every one of you. There's no Highbury Squad without the squaddies and without the listeners. We're close to that 20k on YouTube and growing on the audio platforms too. And we appreciate everyone who tunes in from around the world to talk football about our beloved football club. Some of you may be disappointed. Some of you, like me, will be thinking after a conversation of 55 minutes and 41 seconds that it's a point earned. Keep the discussion going. We'll see you live on Monday with Adrian Clark. And until then, folks, don't forget to tell your loved ones you love them. At ease, at ease.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.